Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rines Report here on Radio Free Radford.com. We had a little bit of a late start, just some technological problems. If you're listening in on Facebook Live, thank you so much for listening in. I'm, of course, joined in the studio at the moment by Jessie Taylor, the Vice President of Radio Free Radford. Do you want to say hi to the people, Jessie?
Hello, everyone.
So, what do you talk about on your show, Jessie?
Baseball.
Everything.
Baseball, everything.
That's right.
Yes.
So we got her in today to talk a little bit about some huge signings that happened just yesterday. And, of course, Terrence Schoefield will be joining us shortly. He's on standby at the moment. We're just waiting for him to enter the building. You know, sometimes these things happen. It's a wonky Friday. It's a gross Friday outside. But he also runs a show here on RadioFreeRadford.com, the T-SCO Report, every Monday. And give him a follow on social media. Give Jessie Talks Baseball a follow on social media as well. And, of course, follow Radio Free Radford on social media. Twitter at Radio Free Raddy, Instagram, and Facebook when you search Radio Free Radford. And, of course, every time we're going live here on Radio Free Radford, that means we're also live on Facebook. So check us out on the Rines Report Facebook page. Rines spelled R-I-N-E-S. Now, there's a number of things we got to talk about today. Of course, the NFL Combine, Nick Foles, the Giants and Eli Manning, the Rams have some stuff going on. Plenty to talk about, of course, even some surprise topics that we're going to get to shortly. But I want to lead off the show with some baseball. That's the reason we got Jessie Taylor in here. She is I suppose you'd be the expert for Radio Free Radford on baseball.
Probably.
Would that
I
be...
wouldn't say expert. I'd say highly knowledgeable.
Highly knowledgeable. I mean, that works too.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all experts really are highly knowledgeable people, but they just throw the expert on there to make it sound a little bit better. But there's nothing wrong with. I do that all the time.
I still feel like I could learn some more, so I'm not calling myself an expert quite yet.
Yeah, I got you. But definitely plenty to talk about. I want to know, before we get to the biggest brand new news out of yesterday, I do want to know your thoughts on the Manny Machado signing for 10 years, $300 million to the San Diego Padres.
Okay, so
I've never heard of the Padres. I'm just kidding.
Has that many people really heard of the Padres?
I mean, that's a pretty honest and straightforward
I
question.
kind of call them the Cleveland Browns of baseball for the ugliest uniforms.
Really? Are they
Yeah.
that bad? See, because I'm not the biggest baseball person. I'm gonna put that out there very quickly because I'm a big NFL guy. If you're a veteran listener of the show, you understand the NFL is definitely Tristan's thing.
Yes.
A little bit of NBA. I will not call myself an expert in the NBA. I would say I'm a little more than the casual fan, but definitely nowhere near expert level.
Yeah.
But nowhere even close to the knowledge this woman across from me has on baseball. So I played a little bit when I was young, and I'm wearing the Red Sox hat. Congratulations to the Red Sox, World Series champions. You know what I mean? Like, I watch baseball very, few and far between. I know just enough to kind of understand what's going on, but not nearly enough as I should.
Me and football.
Yeah, it's a good trade-off.
Yeah, so Padres, I think they wasted a lot of money on Manny Machado.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm not saying, he's a good player. He's good defensively. He's good offensively. He's shown that, he's, I forget, how many All-Stars he's been in. He's gotten, Gold Glove awards. And, he's proven that he's a good player. But they have 10 of the top 100 prospects in MLB right now. They have 10 of them in their farming system, including Fernando Tatis Jr., who will probably be playing aside Manny Machado this season. I expect them to bring him up. Let's see. Because I don't know, he's their top prospect right now. And obviously they want to secure him as well. The question is, do they have enough money to also secure him long term to be kind of like a Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor type of thing, with the Indians. I reference them a lot on my show because...
Well, that's your team.
Yeah, that's my team. I follow them the closest, and people that listen to me know that as well.
That's right. Here on the Rines Report, we wear our badges of bias on our sleeve, so it's perfectly fine to have your team, of course. Oh yeah, here's Terrence. Come on in. Pop on in, bud. We're talking a little bit of baseball right now.
Okay. The rest.
You know I'm all Boston, buddy.
Oh my God! Here we come. I'm coming to this.
Of course you did. We have the amazing Terrence Schoefield finally joining us in studio.
Yes, sir.
You understand how Reds can be sometimes, so you just get here when you can. I appreciate you showing up.
Yes, sir.
We missed you last week.
Yes, sir.
We definitely
yes,
did.
Sir. went home on that one. And I apologize on that one. I missed a good one. You
did, man.
Zion on that one.
Of course.
But, we're going to talk about it good today. So.
But we're talking a little baseball. Right now we're talking the Manny Machado signing.
Oh, with the Padres?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's diving into it. Jessie, of course, is our big baseball expert.
Okay.
I'm calling her expert. She says she's a very intelligent fan.
Okay.
So we're calling her the baseball expert for Radio Free Radford. And she's diving into that. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to quickly introduce my amazing co-host.
Completely good. Yeah, but I did talk about that a lot, like in detail last week. I think I spent like a good 20 minutes like talking talking about him. But like my main points are like, just the length of time, and you have so many top prospects that are coming in that you probably should have spent the money on to secure them long term, so that you do have a dynasty team within the next. Like 6 to 7 years.
Like the Yankees, I just wanted to put.
Oh, you're a Yankees fan.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on the Yankees? Because I have opinions on the Yankees. You see the hat I'm wearing?
God!
They have a lot of talent. I don't really.
Come on, expert. I know you're gonna talk good about my team. Come on, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna patch you up good on this one. You gotta talk good about the Yankees. We got a couple.
I think they have a lot of good talent too. Are they my favorite organization? No.
It's fine. That's fine. That's your opinion. I can respect it.
But I will respect the talent that they.
Dear. That's
don't
weird.
break the mic, Tristan.
I have no idea what happened here. Don't worry, just keep going. It still works.
Keep going. All right, we good over here.
I have no idea why
I
this
respect the
happened.
players that they have, like Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge.
Yes.
The two that CC, he just announced his retirement. This will be his last season.
Well, it sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the Yankees do in their Hall of Fame wheelhouse have the only unanimous selection for the Hall of Fame.
Mariano
100%.
Rivera. Yep.
Which, I mean, there are some opinions on that. He's great, but I don't know if he was worthy of being the first person ever to be 100%.
And he got a lot of.
It was the close.
He got a lot of. There was a lot of talk about it in the coming days, and even weeks before the election, and.
You go.
And. And all the people on MLB Network on Sports Center, and they're all talking. Oh, he's it's definitely going to be unanimous. They were calling it, so I don't know if the media attention had any
I mean, it could have. I don't know. You think of all the great names in baseball history. You have Babe Ruth, of course, legendary players, Jackie Robinson and stuff. But Mariano, of course, and Mariano happens to be the first one. I mean, it's all due respect, greatest closer ever. But
greatest ever.
Yeah,
it's but.
I don't know, man. There's a certain element of that that's you're going to have, I don't know. It's just a certain part of me that's there are so many other players that you could have had 100%.
You have to think about it this way. They just got a whole almost new board of voters this year, and there are a lot of the people that were watching him while he was playing him in his prime. So to say that it's biased, I think maybe not. It's just that generation.
I give you that most definitely.
They watched him come up. They watched him evolve. They watched him do all the record-breaking, all the fantastic pitching that he's done in his career. So they got to see that firsthand.
Okay.
And from the beginning, it's not like they seen Derek Jeter. Well, they might have seen Derek Jeter too, but he was a little bit older, and you know what I'm saying. So it's just a point of, like she said, it's just a lot of people that seen, for instance. I'm just comparing it to a different sport.
Yeah.
But it's just some people seen Jordan grow up and some people seen Kobe grow up. So it's just just how life generation is.
I mean, I understand, all due respect to Mariano Rivera. I understand it. I'm a little confused by him being the first person.
One. I agree.
Yeah.
There's a certain element that comes with it. You know what I mean? There's
I
a Jordan-esque kind of,
understand that because you look at, Ken Griffey Jr., they were also, watching him, is it, and just to have it be a closing pitcher is, the first unanimous, is really
for
interesting.
To be a pitcher.
And considering that when he played, closing pitchers and bullpens aren't, in the, I don't know how to put this, but the demand that they're in today, because a lot of the pitching has shifted more towards good bullpen arms and good closers. A lot of the teams that you see fall in the postseason now is mainly due to bullpen and their lack thereof.
So I do want to get your take on, of course, the Bryce Harper deal. We've gone 11 minutes without talking about it, and the huge reason we really wanted you in today is, of course, for Bryce Harper. You couldn't do your show yesterday, unfortunately, a little sick.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you in the studio, of course. So Bryce Harper, $330 million.
13 years.
First of all, I'm just happy.
13 years? Is that how long it was?
13 years.
Jesus.
Yeah. So.
What would you do if you had $330 million, Terrence? First thing.
Well, right now I need a car.
You need a car. All right, he's getting a car. What would you do if you had $330 million, Jessie?
Car.
A car?
Yeah.
For me, I'm buying a house. I'm investing in real estate.
I'm telling you.
Make your money work for you. That's just me.
I'm gonna buy Walt Disney.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a big steak in it.
Big steak in it?
I'm telling you.
It's always fresh over there.
Oh yeah. Especially since they keep doing remakes of their own movies.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
how they keep the
Will
copyright.
Smith is going to be the next genie, and he's of course an internet meme.
That-
If you guys love Radio Free Radford memes, that's me. It's my job.
That's all Tristan.
That's all me. I'm taking 100% credit for that. But yeah, let's get into Bryce Harper's deal. That's an insane amount of money. Like, for me, quantitative, like, I understand there's money in baseball. Like, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
So much money in
Well,
baseball.
see, the interesting thing about the MLB is there's no salary cap.
So how is that? So yeah, because like I said, top of the show, I'm not the biggest baseball person. There's no salary cap, so it's how is that generated?
The MLB does not regulate how much teams can put out for players. So basically, you have your high market teams like the Red Sox, Yankees, Phillies, teams that have a lot of money. Then you have like your mid-market teams like Cleveland and the Padres, which is why I'm surprised that they spent so much money
to get Machado.
Machado,
they're looking to sell $400 million worth of jerseys.
You have to put into perspective though with the Padres, they haven't really made any big signings except for Eric Hosmer.
Oh yeah, it gets people talking about him.
So,
it's going to get people to show up, watch the games.
Yeah.
But the Phillies didn't have any of those issues anyway.
No, they didn't, and they proved last season that they were a contending team. They I was really.
Do you
surprised.
think they're thinking this puts them over the edge for the long term?
Yes, I
Probably.
do. Yeah, because for right now, like he's doesn't have an there's a no trade clause, so they can't trade for him. If they get rid of him, they're gonna have to sell him. So like he'll make up that money somewhere else, and there's no opt out either.
Yeah, he's stuck for 13 years.
He's stuck there unless another team is willing to come in and take.
You're gonna be a Philly sports icon for potentially 13 years.
And the best way to
in Philly
compare this to is
it's a rough place to be.
Stanton in 2014 signed a $325 million extension with the Marlins for 13 years, also I believe.
And the Yankees
took that over. So unless you have another team that's
that
going to do
darn
that,
Derek Jeter, man. No, he just went into the Marlins and was like,
hey.
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna trade Giancarlo Stanton to my old team.
He sold everyone. It wasn't even just Giancarlo Stanton. They got rid of a lot of their young players like Christian Yelich, and
they got rid of a lot.
but what
Jorge
he's
Posada is down there now too with him. I don't know if you probably already knew that, but I seen that.
Yeah, but you see what Christian Yelich has done for the Brewers. Well, you don't.
I mean, I'm not the biggest baseball person, but doing pretty well.
He's been a big plus for the Brewers, and I think a lot of the success that they had last season was due to getting Christian Yelich. He had a place where I think he really felt appreciated, where he felt like he could grow as a player. But with Bryce Harper and the Phillies, I think that was the most logical decision.
I mean, that's what everybody at the beginning of this offseason thought he was going to go.
Years. No, when Bryce Harper first made it big, the Phillies had their eye on him.
Yeah.
And they wanted him. They built a contending team around the possibility
of getting Bryce Harper.
Of getting him, and they had no we don't know if we're going to get him. And everything. If they ended up not getting Bryce Harper this year, there's also the option of Mike Trout 2020. But they essentially
best player in baseball.
They essentially built a team around the possibility of getting Bryce Harper, which I find really interesting. The fact that they were able to draft players to
coexist with him,
make it so that they would work with him and didn't even know if they were going to get him, and then to actually get him, I think is nothing short of a miracle that it actually happened with all everything that can change in baseball. You don't know if he's going to get injured or, it is a big risk. I think that he's going to do a lot for their lineup. They needed a right fielder anyway, so he'll be good in the field. He's shown that he's been good in the field. And his bat, obviously he's proven that he's a pretty great.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit short coming
Selling
from,
it.
But, last year was a little bumpy for him.
I mean, but he wasn't necessarily happy being there for that as long as he was,
Yeah,
I guess.
And I think he made that pretty obvious as soon as the offseason hit and the Nationals offered him, I think, the exact same contract, like $330 million. I think the only difference is that it was for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no. And
that's crazy.
Like, I just think that he didn't want to be in Washington anymore. And
I just find it insane how people, I don't know, like, I understand it, I guess, because it's entertainment sports, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I just find it crazy that somebody within a decade is going to make, $330 million playing baseball. What do you do? I play baseball. I play right field for the Phillies. What did you make this season? I don't know, like $30 million.
This year he's getting, what did it say? I think he's getting like 14 or 16 million this year.
That's crazy.
Let's see. He's gonna make 10.
I don't even know if I'll make that much money in my lifetime.
He's making 10 million this season. 10 million this season with a 20 million signing bonus. So $30 million this year.
That's ridiculous.
And then.
I should have stuck to baseball when I was a kid.
And then
I was a pitcher. I couldn't hit the ball with a doggone, but I could strike everybody out. I'm telling you.
That's alright. You could pitch in the American League.
You
don't have to worry about hitting.
Dude, it's never too late, Terrence. Just go get a Tommy John surgery.
You see what Tim Tebow did.
Yeah. Well, but Tim Tebow's not pitching.
No, but still.
He's got. I can't imagine his form for pitching, considering how bad his form was throwing a football.
Exactly.
It's a bigger risk though to go in as a position player at that point in his life.
Yeah.
So, but
he's doing pretty good stuff. You think we'll actually ever see?
He's moving up.
You think we'll ever see Tim Tebow play it for real? No.
I think he'll stay in the minors.
He's just gonna be there selling jerseys in minor leagues.
Yeah, I don't see him because he's already up there, kind of an age.
He's on the Mets minor league team, right? Mm-hmm. So if the Mets are like, we're not doing well this season, let's go get some Tebow jerseys.
It's the Mets, so they're not known for having I know they have Noah Syndergaard and stuff, but they don't really project that many star players. So you don't have a lot of all-stars. I don't even remember the last time they made it to the postseason.
Not necessarily a laughing stock, but not necessarily a great,
They're like the meme of baseball. They're the ones that everyone likes to kind of laugh at and poke fun at because they always stay injured. They can't seem to have a winning season, and but going back to Bryce Harper, $30 million essentially this season. He'll make $26 million in the 20 to 28 seasons, and then $22 million the last 3 years of his contract.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL Combine. I know Terrence definitely has some ideas about that. How long do we have you in the studio for, Terrence?
I can be here to about 11:40.
11:40? Okay, because we got a big topic I want to talk to you about. I'm sure you have an idea of what it's going to be. And if you don't, then I'm going to love the surprise. So stick around. We'll be right back here in about 20 seconds.
Love it. Your new favorite station. You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. This is your man, Flo Rida. All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
The best players.
Welcome back to the Rines Report here in the Radio Free Radford studio. I'm joined in studio, of course, by Vice President Jessie Taylor, the host of the T-SCO Sports Report on Radio Free Radford as well, Terrence Schoefield.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your show, Terrence.
Well, first of all, it's Mondays, every Monday at 11. You can tune in. You can follow me on Instagram at tsco_276 or go and be my friend on Facebook at Terrence Schoefield. You can find both of those and tune in every Monday. And I always talk about the good NFL, NBA, and a little bit of college basketball.
That's right. So, love having you guys in studio, of course. This is your first time being in the studio for the Rines Report. And if any other huge baseball news breaks out, of course, we're going to see if Jessie can come pop in.
Always.
The NFL Combine is currently happening as we speak. And there's a few big names I've been looking out for. Terrence, what are your thoughts, as a whole? Do you find the NFL Combine exciting? Do you find it just because you're a football fan? It's okay, finally something NFL related. How do you feel about the NFL Combine as a whole?
Personally, just for this year, I'm an offensive type of person. I like to see big offensive plays, but I love to see defense at the same time. But with this draft coming up now, it's a lot of defense, and basically now you're going to be looking at what people can bench, what people can squat, and basically the 40 times right now, and seeing what people can actually be.
What's your favorite Combine drill?
Probably the 40.
40? I mean, it's the one that gets the most hype.
Yeah, probably the 40 or I like when the receivers when it's a receiver day.
Yeah.
The receivers go out there.
I was going to definitely say that. The catching drill is always my favorite. Do you want to know why I like the catching drill?
Why?
Because there's always like one or two guys every year that get football like right at the dome, like right at the end or right at the beginning, because they're not paying enough attention. It's like they're like, oh, I'm still worrying about the last catch that I dropped, and then they turn, they get pow, they just get
With
pelted.
the next one, yep.
Yeah, it's hilarious. That's my favorite part. Like I don't know, like I think it's hilarious. I have a few guys that I'm looking out for, but yeah, the 40-yard dash is always interesting. I don't think there's anybody slated this year that could legitimately break John Ross's 4.22.
Oh no.
I find that insane. Of course, as a number, but did you see Usain Bolt ran the 40 in like regular just people, just regular clothes, like
and he
sweats.
broke it, didn't
Yeah, he broke it wearing regular essentially like just regular sneakers, no cleats, something like that.
Right.
He was wearing like sweatpants and like some like a regular shirt, whatever, just doing his thing. So he was like, "Hey, Usain, come run the 40." He was like, "All right, sure, whatever," and he ran it at a 4.22, which is the NFL combine record, and 4.22 is what, like. How fast do you have to be going to run like a 40-yard dash in 4.22? Like 26 miles per hour as a human being?
I think that was his top speed. Was like 26.
It was like, I'm pretty sure it was like 29.
Was it?
I want to say
like
it.
I wonder
look it
how
up
far
real quick.
can he stay at his top speed? Like how long can you hold that?
Probably not very long.
Well, he runs the 100-meter, but where he wins the 100-meter is that he doesn't start
50.
off fast. But he catches and just
probably at the 60.
zooms by you.
Yeah.
Let me see. I want to get a legitimate number.
How do you just turn that on like
Usain Bolt's not. I'm convinced Usain Bolt's not like a regular human. Well, he isn't a regular human, but I'm convinced he's like not human. And
how tall is he? Like 6'3", 6'4"?
Something like that.
Yeah,
The record was 27.8 miles per hour, measured between meters 60 and 80 of the 100-meter sprint, the World Championships of Berlin on August 16th, 2009, by Usain Bolt. That's ridiculous.
I remember that when it happened. Has it really been 10 years?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
crazy.
10 years ago, it's 2009, people.
Wow.
I was a freshman in high school.
Right?
Me too.
That's ridiculous. Like, the average high schooler now was born past the year 2000. And I was born in 97. Like, all of us were born in, like, the later
Yeah,
All
I
the
was
night,
born in
everybody
96.
in 1999 has graduated. 2000 have graduated now.
That's ridiculous to me.
Please stop. I feel old.
Right?
Stop! I am. I feel it.
Are there any names that you're looking at going into the combine or that you're keeping an eye on?
You know,
Who?
just one person. You know, just because it's so hyped up and it's hard for anybody to understand where he's going to go or why he made his decision. That's with Kyler Murray.
Kyler?
Yes, sir.
You know
Like,
he's not participating in drills though?
I seen that.
But did you know he left the MLB
Yeah.
to go to the NFL,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
He
was
was
like
top 10
huge.
pick.
Yeah,
Top
he
10.
was by the Oakland Athletics.
He was what,
And
number
then-
9?
Yeah, I talked about this I think about a month ago
I
on the show.
I talked about it like on my first show, and I was like, I don't think he stays in baseball. It's too high risk. The best option for him would go into the NFL because
the only way he was
going
to stay. Yeah, the only way he was going to stay is if the A's were going to offer him like a ridiculous amount.
They don't have that much money.
They don't.
They don't. They're a low market team. They don't have money, and it's not surprising. But I'm interested, and I'm not even like a big football person, but like.
But Kyler Murray's the guy you like.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what
how
he
you
brings to
gonna
the
turn
table.
I mean, dude was a Heisman winner, really good at Oklahoma.
Same height as he was a couple.
He's 5'10", and he
Right.
has big hands. Like, they did the measurements for him yesterday.
Close to Russell.
And
He's still shorter than Russell, has smaller.
Well,
hands.
yeah, but I'm taller than Kyler Murray. I'm 5'11". Kyler Murray's only 5'10", but I'm nowhere close to the athletic ability Kyler Murray has. Like, there's not many
Neither one of
humans.
us. Our athletic ability, all three of our athletic abilities
combined, not even close.
Not close.
But I mean, I was curious about Kyler Murray, but then I heard that he wasn't going to be doing any like legitimate drills at the combine, so he's going to wait for his pro day to put in all those like numbers
To make it look good.
Well, you want to throw like I understand the decision because you want to throw with guys you're comfortable with. You don't know any of these guys except for maybe like one guy out there catching the passes for you. So like I get it. Like I'm not surprised by the decision. You want to do something that you're more comfortable with. You don't want to be like judged by your combine speed because people for some reason, like I understand it, I guess. But people will take the combine numbers and they look at those numbers a little higher than your pro day for some weird reason. But when you're more comfortable with people, that's when you're going to perform better regardless.
But the reason why they do that, I was looking at something on the NFL network the other day, is just because they want to see what you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
They know that your pro day is set up to make you look good.
Well, the combine in general is really weird.
Yeah.
So, like, I read an article on SB Nation by Jeff Schwartz, a former NFL lineman, And he talks about how just the days leading up to, like, before the drills, it's just really weird. Like, you have, like, 15-minute interviews with teams, and some teams are in there just to try to break you. I've heard stories about, I don't want to name names or anything, but there was a story that someone was telling me that they know someone in the NFL, and they're talking about the combine. He was like, yeah, I walked into one interview with this team, and they asked me how many sheets of paper would it take to stack to the ceiling. Like, they just ask you, like, really weird questions like that to see how you work on the fly, or how many basketballs do you think could fill this room, or something like that. So it's really, like, weird stuff sometimes. But there are certain management teams that'll go in and they want to, like, make you cry. Their whole objective in the 15 minutes is to make you cry because they want to see how well you can handle pressure and stuff like that. Combine's weird, especially the medical stuff. The medical stuff's weird, too. Apparently, like, they bring you into this room, they move you all sorts of weird different ways, and that
they got to make sure they're based because they spending all that money.
You got to know exactly what you're getting for the investment you're putting in. But there are a few names I'm looking at. The number one guy I'm really interested in seeing, because I don't want to name quarterbacks in this particularly, just because you kind of understand quarterbacks. Like, we all hype up the quarterbacks all the time.
Always.
I have a number of names on this list.
Okay.
The number one guy I really want to see at the Combine is DK Metcalf at Ole Miss. There was a great number I saw yesterday that shocked and surprised me, and it was hard for me to wrap my head around it. You know what his body fat percentage is? 1.6%. Just 1.6. The wide receiver from Ole Miss. He's 6'4", 225 pounds.
And
he's legit, like...
He looked like a linebacker.
He's ridiculous. I really want to see the Patriots go get him.
What's the other?
I really want to see him go to the Patriots. He's one of my favorite.
I couldn't even get my word.
He's one of my favorite prospects. He's ridiculous, man.
What's the receiver that's matched up next to him that's on the Ole Miss's team as well?
Oh, I don't know. I know the other, like, top tier wide receiver they're looking at for the draft this year is N'Keal Harry out of ASU.
Yeah,
and he looks pretty promising as well. I just like the idea of DK Metcalf catching bombs from like Tom Brady, because there's not a single defensive back in the NFL. I am convinced there's not a single defensive back in the NFL that if he gets the ball against moving 3 steps that can actually tackle him by themselves. I can't think of a single person except for maybe Xavier Rhodes.
You said 1.4 or 1.6?
1.6% body fat.
That's ridiculous.
When he came into college, he was in, like, tremendous shape already as, like, a freshman, and obviously he's leaving now. And he's him walking into college was even better shape than I could ever imagine being in my life. And he's walking out of college about as ripped as Arnold Schwarzenegger was in his prime. Like, Did
you see the picture?
Yeah, I've seen him. He's ridiculous.
His shoulders is just.
He has the definition of washboard abs.
Like, it's ridiculous.
He's a scary looking human being, and I am so excited to see him at the NFL level. I'm really excited. The biggest question for him is if he can run 4.5 or under. Like, if he's going to go higher or lower than that. I think he's going to run about a 4.43, 4.46.
That's still good.
That's ridiculously good.
Because you're that big and you're moving that quick.
I was about to say, with that much muscle mass, that was really hard. Like, you would think with that much like muscle mass,
and he can
you'd
still
be able
move
to
it, and he's
exert,
still.
Oh yeah, have you seen his highlights?
I've seen a few. I haven't really He's
got pretty solid hands, but his high point against the defenders is ridiculous. And I understand the college level; it's different, of course. He set the NFL Combine record at the time for the longest wingspan in the NFL Combine history at 6'11", and he's 6'4". So he's got ridiculous arms. And you know what's crazy is there's a dude out of Iowa State who I'm really interested in watching as well, Hakeem Butler, who's same height. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. So he broke the record. The record was broken twice on the same day by 2 different players.
Wow. And they're both 6'4"?
Yeah, I think Hakeem Butler's 6'4", 6'5", out of Iowa State.
7 foot.
And he's got a 7-foot wingspan. So his wingspan is taller than Kevin Durant. Imagine throwing jump balls to these guys. I can't imagine there's an NFL defender that can come back with it.
I mean, he's just...
I'm really excited.
If Odell was that tall.
Odell is already a freak, though. He's like 6'2", maybe.
No, I don't even know if he's 6 foot.
He might be 6 foot. I want to make sure. I love Odell Beckham.
Him and Landry. I don't even know if they're 6 foot.
Let me see. Oh, I'm really excited. But I got DK Metcalf, Nick Bosa, of course. He's perennially the number 1 overall pick, unless the Cardinals get like creative. He's like 5'11".
Told you.
What? I thought he was taller than that. Usually I'm not wrong about those things.
Him and Jarvis Landry are Jarvis Landry's shorter than him.
Who has better hands? That's a hard question, isn't it? Because Landry had like the most catches in like 4 years than of anybody in NFL history.
And you know, I wanted to say Odell, but that's just typical. But you can't, when you look at the facts, it's like
I think Landry's got better hands. I think they're both ridiculous athletes.
I can't wait to see what him and Baker gonna do for real.
Oh, and they had like a full season together? Oh, yeah. That's going to be fun. But Nick Bosa, N'Keal Harry, of course. Josh Allen out of Kentucky. He's one of the best pass rushers going into this. DeAndre Baker. I really like him out of Georgia. He's a lengthy corner. He can press up a little bit. I like him a lot. TJ Hawkinson is probably, in my opinion, probably the best tight end in this draft. He can run block. He does everything pretty well. He just needs to, I think his receiving just could use a little bit of work from what I've seen. A little bit of film that I've watched. Quinnen Williams out of Bama and Jonah Williamson as well. But like I said, Kyler's not participating in combine drills. Makes me a little sad. Favorite combine drill is the catching drill, man.
Right.
It doesn't get better than that, honestly. Like, nobody's getting hype over the vertical jump. Like, it's a nice number to have. Where
cool.
Like, oh, I had top 5 in the vertical jump. Yeah, I can jump real high. That's cool.
But
I want to see somebody get pelted, man. I just know it's coming.
Yeah.
Because you know there's going to be a quarterback out there that's going to see some kid from a rival school trying to catch passes. And be like, I remember when you took one back on us and beat us in that game or something like that. So let me put a little heat on it when they're not looking. So they have to turn around quick and just pow!
That hurts.
Because it throws you off. Do you remember a couple years ago when that happened? Like the dude started off the drill and he didn't know where he was going.
Right, and he took the right. I think
He went right when he was supposed to go left, and then he turned back like the wrong way, and he got hit like right in the dome. And then he went back again to the right spot, and then like it pelted right off his hands because he was just so out of it. So he ran it out. He just ran it out, but he did fine the rest of the way, I think. But it was just so funny.
Yeah, that mental block is ridiculous, dude.
It really gets to you, though. All right, so we got Nick Foles officially is going to be a free agent. We're going to talk about that one really quickly here in the next 36 seconds.
We're back and better than ever. Radio Free Radford.
Ready? Realize what I'm about to say.
Come on! Go! Playing what you want to hear. RFR.
Hello, I am Ellie Goldie.
Hey everybody, this is Natalie Laro.
Hey, what's up? It's Brianna.
What up, y'all? This is Jeremiah.
Radford's new choice of music. RadioFreeRadford.com.
And we are live here in the Radio Free Radford studio. I'm your host of the Rines Report, Tristan Blake Rines, joined here in studio by Jessie Talks Baseball.
Yep.
Very happy to have you in here.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit more about your show, Jessie.
My show's on Thursdays at 2 p.m. You can catch it here on Radio Free Radford, or you can like my Facebook page, Jessie Talks Baseball, and I usually will also go live with my shows as well. So when you hear me, I'm either going live I'm going live and I'm in studio, so
Yeah.
it's the same time. Sometimes I will post other videos on my Facebook, like outside of the show, just like when really important things happen, or just things that I find interesting.
You do have like a little side channel on, like in general for social media where you do like makeup and stuff too, right?
Yes, I do.
I want
Yep.
you to I'll let you plug that one in real quick because I know you're really enthusiastic.
Yes,
about it.
I do love doing makeup. A lot of the times when I come on my show, though, I try to keep it kind of tame. I don't like doing anything too wild. But you could also like that. It's Jessie Taylor MUA. MUA short for makeup artist. So,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's really cool.
So if you ever see that anywhere, you're not sure what it means, that's what it means.
Well, we're really happy to have you here in the studio. You're also the vice president of Radio Free Radford, and could potentially be the runner-up to take my position.
Hopefully, if everything goes good.
But have you really enjoyed your experience here at Radio Free Radford so far?
I wouldn't be applying for a general manager's position if I didn't.
Yeah.
So
So,
I love the organization. I love the people.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Terrence? You loving
You know
Radio Free
I love
Radford?
it. You know I do. It's no question about it.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Because you've been doing this for how long now, Terrence?
3 years.
3 years.
It's crazy.
I think we talked about this one before, how he got involved with Radio Free Radford is because he was trying to talk smack to me on an elevator
No question
about the
about it.
Patriots, something like
Seeing
that.
that he had a jersey on.
That's right. I was really
went after
excited.
him. I went after him.
He tried to. He tried to. See, Terrence can't beat me. He just knows he can't.
And then we went to Wendy's and we were still going at it the whole time.
At
The
least you
whole
had
time.
Wendy's to
I'm
go
telling
with.
you.
Dude, it's great. I love my job. And that's how you recruit people. But speaking of recruiting, one of the biggest names in free agency, if not the biggest name in free agency, the one, in my opinion, with the most speculation around it, is Nick Foles.
Okay, we'll say something. I don't follow football that much, but I have seen so many news articles, there's just so many like
about him.
videos, so much press is covering his free agency, and I'm like, I'm kind of interested because everything that he did in the Super Bowl last year is nothing short of astonishing.
Don't remind me.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
I mean, you know who did win a Super Bowl like last in the All Division though? I mean, y'all haven't won in 20 years, Terrence. Clap it up. Anyway, but no, I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see where Nick Foles goes. He's the biggest name in free agency, and I have two aspects on how I'm looking at his free agency. Okay, I'm gonna look at why you should buy into Nick Foles and why you shouldn't. Okay. Because I feel like it needs to be said before we all get really high on this guy going into wherever he's going to go.
Bryce Harper of the NFL at the moment.
I wouldn't hold at least,
Well,
but Nick Foles is a team player.
But I mean, not necessarily him as a person. I mean,
in general,
speculation, like where is he going to go? This is why you should get him. This is why you shouldn't
Yeah.
get him. Like everybody's attention is focused to this one guy right now.
And mind you, this is all due respect to Nick Foles. I respect the man. He beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl MVP. All right, so that's one of the biggest reasons why you should buy into him. Yes. He's got some accomplishments. You can put some respect on his name. You know what I mean? He's played very well in the last two seasons when he has the opportunity to do so. He kept the Eagles into playoff contention and even took them a little farther into the playoffs. Unfortunately, like a pass went right through Alshon Jeffrey's hands. Things like that happen sometimes, but if not, we could have seen the Eagles and the Patriots in a rematch. It was that close of a difference. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been really exciting. He can play some big time football. Like I've said, he plays really well in the clutch. He's done fantastic, of course, the last 2 seasons. He won a Super Bowl.
I mean, he was what, second or third string quarterback?
He was second string quarterback last season.
Yeah.
Took over for an injured Carson Wentz.
I'm saying. Like, if you can sit there and pick it up when it really counts,
Yeah.
that speaks a lot to your character and what
very
you can
valuable
do with the team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why I would buy into him. Okay, but here's why I'm cautious, and why you should be too. His Rams days. Now I understand Jeff Fisher.
Why you do that?
I have to do it. As a person, because I had this. All right, if you're a veteran listener to the show, you remember Sam Montana, one of my former co-hosts for a good little while, like a semester. He could be listening into the show, and we have this debate all the time about who's better, him or Carson Wentz. And I always say Carson, and it's only because I feel he's a more talented, more polished quarterback. But he's been hurt, right? So, like, I'll do respect to Nick Foles, but I'm just saying I just stick with Carson. You gave him the keys to the franchise. He's just been some unfortunate injuries. But his Rams days make me cautious. And my whole thing is, could he be benefiting from Doug Peterson's systems? Because even last year when they won the Super Bowl, he said, hey, look, we really just figured out what he does really well, and we just asked him to do things he's comfortable with. And he performed phenomenally. And even back in the Chip Kelly days, I'm pretty sure it was a very similar take. It's like, okay, we know what he can do really well. Let's stick to it. What I'm curious to see is wherever he decides to end up, wherever he decides to sign, we've seen him at his worst as well as his best. What are we going to get out of Nick Foles? That's really the big question. So I'm cautious with Nick Foles. I respect the guy. I mean, he's played very well. Beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'll say it again. All due respect to the guy. But if you're an NFL GM, you have to consider that. Is it systematic, his success? Or is he really that good? And Jeff Fisher's that bad. And it could very well be the latter.
Yeah, 'cause he's that bad.
Because he is that bad.
He ruined Vince Young's career.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Like, Vince was okay, but if Vince was that...
But him and Chris Johnson was definitely good at one point.
Well, they were. No, like, Fisher had his heyday for a long time, and then it just didn't really work out with the Rams. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is you have to consider the best somebody can do, but you always have to consider their worst.
Yeah, especially
it's like going into a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, if this is a substantial relationship, and I know this person well enough, have I seen them at their best? Have I seen them at their worst? Mm-hmm. Is this what is going to be the healthiest thing for me? But I feel like it needs to be considered. And now we only have Terrence for a short while longer, so I'm not even going to hit a break. I really want to talk about Jason Witten, because I know you're a Cowboys fan. We wear our biases on our sleeves. So, I want to ask you really quick, because how much time do you have left with us?
Probably like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah. All right, we can cover this in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Jason Witten back in Dallas.
Woo!
You really excited?
Woo! Woo!
I
feel like Ric Flair. Excited. You know what I'm saying?
You watched that Hot Ones interview last night, didn't you? Because I watched it too.
I'm telling you. I'm excited because I know we need that back, but I'm curious to see what he has to give.
Yeah.
I know he keeps his body and everything in tip-top shape, and he's.
I mean, that's what you hope he's been doing.
I hope he's been doing. I mean, I haven't heard anything.
Part of the worst announcing crew in the game decided that, hey, maybe I shouldn't be a football announcer anymore. That was the worst. That was the worst announcing crew.
Yeah, he could.
But I don't even blame Jason as much as I blame. If you're watching it, I'm talking to you, Booger McFarland. Anyway, no, I just thought, like, my whole thing against Booger McFarland was that Booger mobile, man. I hated that thing. Like, I'm sure he was a fine person, whatever.
Right.
Like, his analysis wasn't always, like I always didn't find it necessary, in my opinion. But that's opinions, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But I hated the Booger mobile. So, like, that was the whole big reason why I didn't like that Monday Night Football crew. It was mostly because this really dumb contraption that got in the way of fans who paid thousands of dollars for really good seats to go watch football games. Oh, you can watch on the back of this TV.
Right.
So, just saying. But he left Monday Night Football. He's going to go back in the NFL.
To the Cowboys.
And he wants to make a Super Bowl run.
I think it's possible.
I feel like he's got his hopes way too high for this Cowboys team, man.
I mean, the only reason you're saying that is because it's the Cowboys. But
Well, I gotta mess with you a little bit.
I mean, I know, but I'm not going to let you do it today.
You're not going to let me do it today? So you think the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl next year?
I'm not going to say
you
all
gonna
that.
Say
I'm not going to
Are
say
you going to
all
say that
either.
with certainty?
I'm not
Because
gonna
you're
say-
making it
I'm not
sound
gonna say
that way.
all that. I'm not going to say all that right now. Right now, you're not going to get it out of me right now.
You
So I can be that
think the Cowboys are a Super Bowl caliber team, Jesse?
No.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Even with Jason Witten?
Nope. I don't know who that is, but I assume he's a pretty good dude.
Well, she's not a big football fan.
I don't.
Okay, well, I got to give it to him.
Jason's 36 years old. He's been out of the game for a year. My biggest
Right.
questions are, can he take the contact again? Like, you have the idea that you can do it until you're back on that field in the middle of
It's a lot
OTAs.
different thinking that you can do it and then like actually
Doing it,
doing it. I
okay.
think if he didn't take like a 1
We'll
year,
see.
But I'm
I just wanna see.
I'm respectful of Jason
just wanna
Witten. The
see.
dude was a great player.
I just want to see.
I'm curious.
I'm curious.
Of course, I'll be looking for him.
And if
What?
it works out, you gonna hear from me.
There's a team there's more than just Jason Witten on that team.
You're right.
I think
Amari Cooper coming back too.
what I think is going to actually happen with the Cowboys.
Don't do it to me.
Is he the favorite to start?
Nah.
I wouldn't say so.
That's what-
And the only reason why I say that is because Jarwin looked pretty solid. What was his name? Jeff Swain, right? Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
He could be like a rotational guy. I think they could work really well with that 3 tight end set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how we have these running back by committees in the NFL? The Cowboys could definitely go to a committee tight end rotation. I really like the idea of that. Do I think this makes the Cowboys Super Bowl team? Absolutely not. I just don't. Because the NFC is so competitive and so challenging. Like, the team I think to beat in the NFC this year is not the Rams. I think it's actually the Saints. Is he in shape? He'll probably be in shape. OTAs, though, I think it's when you get back into them after taking that time off. It's like, okay, OTAs, you got to be running around. You got to stay in shape. You got to do this and this and this. And he did it for a long time. Like, he understands it. But then you actually start doing it again. You start running around again. You're like, oh, man, I shouldn't have eaten that burger. You know what I mean? Like 4 months ago. Right. Like, oh, it's really catching back up to me. But he said in a statement he's really passionate still. He really wants to be back in the game. And I don't blame him for coming back. Like, he still wants to play, and he could still do it. Why not, you know? But that overall reason why I don't think the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team, even with Jason Witten, because the dude's the master of the check down pass catching. You know what I mean? Like, that's his job. All right, run 7 yards, catch pass.
Catch it. That's what we need.
All right, is the quarterback running that way? All right, run that way, but stay on like that yard line. You're good. The offensive line needs to be back at full strength. Without Travis Frederick, that offensive line doesn't seem the same. There's some rotational stuff happening there, but it doesn't feel like a solid unit anymore. Is Jason Garrett a good coach? What do you think is a good coach, Terrence?
Should have been going this year.
Yeah, and they're already talking about extending it. But I think this is definitely the make or break year. The secondary still needs some help. There's a lot that's going to happen between now. And the next season, between now and preseason. I think Earl Thomas is definitely a candidate. But the Cowboys need a lot of work before we start declaring that the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team.
I agree.
So
I didn't say much.
Yeah, but with that, I know you got to get out of here. I'm sure you have some classes or something like that, some obligations you have to handle. So I understand it. Thank you very much for being here in the studio with us,
problem.
of course.
You know,
You'll be joining us,
Next
of course, in the future. Well, next week I won't be in town.
Okay.
Check your text messages after the show.
Okay.
I got some stuff I got to ask you. But next week I'll be out of town, of course. I'll touch a little bit more on that towards the end of the show, but I'll be a little more out of town. Going to a conference, and then spring break happens, so we'll be developing some methods on how we're going to go about the show. But anyway, Thank you so much for joining us again, once again in the studio. Check us out going into the future. Terrence will be joining us throughout the remainder of the semester, the final show.
Yeah.
Semester, so. Thank you very much, man. I'll let you get out of here. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back if you're listening here on RadioFreeRadford.com.
Love it. Your new favorite station. You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. This is your man, Flo Rida. All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
Here, let's scoot you over a little bit so you can get closer to the mic. Well, we just had a great few segments. Thank you very much once again to Terrence Schoefield of the T-SCO Report. You know, he does great work with us here on RadioFreeRadford.com. We're really appreciative of all the amazing hosts from RadioFreeRadford.com. And if you want to check out some more shows, hit our website. If you're listening live right now on our website, look at our host tab at the end of the show, because lots of great talent with us. We have 27 different shows that air weekly.
Yeah. So there's something for everyone.
Exactly. We got baseball. Yep. I do a lot of football stuff. Yep. We have a hockey show that airs every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. The Pettit's Puck Talk. That's a tongue twister. Yeah. Isaiah Adair and Blake Holmes with the Hot Takes with Holmes. Lots of sports shows. We also have a number of just different talk shows in general with Summer Speech and Angie. They do a really good job. So we really appreciate all the amazing hosts and contributors we have on the station.
It wouldn't be the station it is without them.
That's right. We've come a long way over these last couple of years. I would say so. But to get back to the sports stuff, we got about 12 minutes left in the show. The Giants are sticking to their Eli Manning guns. Do you know anything about this whole thing at all?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to. I want to
learn me some football.
I'm gonna learn you some football,
learn
Jessie.
Me some football.
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Eli Manning kind of sucks. I'm just gonna say it, put it out there pretty plainly. He beat the Patriots to 2 Super Bowls. I respect him.
I didn't even think he was ever that good when I have seen him play.
That's a hot take by Jessie Taylor. You want to repeat that one more time for the people?
I just never understood the hype around him. I just
really?
I just never thought he was
He wasn't top tier to you?
No, not to me, but like I said, I'm not
You're not just doing that because I'm a Patriots fan, are you? You're not just saying. Okay.
I just he never. When I did watch, because my mom was a huge Redskins fan.
Oh, so that's where the bias comes from. Okay, I see.
No. I'm a Ravens fan. If I had to pick a team, I would choose the Ravens.
They're interesting. You wouldn't like any of my other takes on the Ravens, but that's okay.
It's fine. I don't pay attention to it that much to get heated
big baseball
by it.
person.
Yeah. I will get heated about baseball though.
Oh, that's for sure.
You've seen me get heated about baseball.
I know. But the Giants are planning on sticking with Eli Manning in a statement they made. But they've kind of backtracked on it a little bit, saying, things like we want to keep him around, and not necessarily meaning they're going to keep him in the starting platform or whether or not their plans for Eli are long-term.
Well, hasn't he been a long-term player for them?
He's been with them for a long. He was there. He got drafted by the Chargers as the number 1 overall pick years and years ago. But then they got traded that same draft to the Giants. Ever since then, he's been playing for them.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants are really going to stick with Eli Manning as far as the next 2 or 3 years. I think this is probably the last year they're planning on him being the starter.
Well, he's getting up there in age too.
He is. So. And currently they are in a good position to get any quarterback they'd want, considering this draft. They're at the 7 or 8 spot. The Jets are the only factor so far that I'm seeing where somebody could be moving around to go get a quarterback. The Jets are at 3, but they've made it public they want to move down.
Yeah.
So if you're a quarterback needy team, you can hop up there and try to go get Haskins or Murray. You draft your guy of the future and to back up Eli Manning for this season. That's what they should be doing. That's probably what they're planning on doing. You look at guys like Patrick Mahomes, who sat behind Alex Smith for a year. Rodgers sat behind Favre for a short time as well. If I'm the Giants, I'm going for Dwayne Haskins or Kyler Murray. Personally, I think Haskins seems like a better fit. It keeps Odell Beckham Jr. a little happier because okay, you signed this big contract. Beyond that, even just on the football side of things, you have somebody who's waiting in the wings that will become the guy throwing you deep bombs. Because Eli Manning is not slinging the ball 40 yards anymore.
No.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, because I think, when I have seen him play, I just wasn't
He
impressed.
He doesn't look that great.
No, and I only really watch when my mom watches the Redskins lose every weekend.
Strong words against the Redskins, too. Jessie's coming in here with some very strong opinions, and that's very welcomed on the show.
But, you know, with you saying that you want to, like, bring in someone who's going to, like, grow with the team, especially, like, with this draft, like, reminds me of, like, Kirk Cousins with the Redskins when he was behind
RG3.
Yes. And, you know, like, he was RG3, he was, like, plagued with injuries, so I think, like, Cousins came in a little bit,
naturally,
like, more natural, and, you know, I was really surprised when he left the team, but I think, wasn't it, dude, it was, like, contract.
It was just money.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
But, you know,
he also, I don't find the Redskins to be the healthiest environment in football, just because management-wise it's a little whatever.
Well, but, like, it reminds me of that, because you get, like, acclimated with the team, you learn their style, and then, like, when you are, like, brought up onto the big stage, you're performing, like, with team and, like, fan expectations as well.
I think the Giants definitely have plenty of things they need to work on, but if they go out and get a quarterback for the future, you develop him for maybe even the year, you could give him some adequate playing time this upcoming season, and the Giants are probably the best team in the top 10 as far as picks go, because they have a ton of talent on the roster. They got Saquon. They got, of course, Odell Beckham. The offensive line's steadily getting better. Not amazing, but steadily getting better. Excuse me. The defense as an overall unit's pretty solid, even though Landon Collins is leaving. So the Giants have plenty of potential going into this next season. I think they have plenty of potential for the future as a whole. But it's just a matter of whether or not they actually decide to finally pull the trigger. They got a generational running back last year in the draft, and everybody thought they should have gotten a quarterback. You go out this year, you get your quarterback of the future, and you turn that organization around, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what I think they should do.
You
and I
think
that's
this
what
should
everybody.
be like they're starting up? They're really like big, like building. Like we're gonna become like.
They don't even have to have a strong rebuild. That's the thing. They've got a lot of very strong performers on the roster already. It's just they need that strong quarterback leadership. Not that Eli Manning isn't a leader anymore, but they need that presence.
He's a veteran
field
presence.
play.
He's got like the history there, but I
Yeah,
assume that they
his performance is no longer substantiating.
but I assume that they've brought in a lot of new players since he's like started with the Giants.
Oh no! I mean that's just how the NFL works, though. You play in the NFL for forever. I mean,
no,
you
I
see a
know,
lot
but
of
I'm just saying he might not have that like veteran status to a lot of the players that might not have been like playing with him.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think it's more of you're just as an overall vet, you're just declining at a certain point. And
well, that's like any sport.
that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they just need to finally pull the trigger and go get someone. Either they get Nick Foles in free agency, or they finally go out and get the quarterback of the future. I'd go with the quarterback in the draft. This offseason, outside of Nick Foles, are on a lot of guys I have a lot of faith in. So that's just my opinion.
I didn't even have to ask. I was going to say, what do you think their better option would be, a draft pick or going with Nick Foles, who, like you mentioned earlier, is almost like a wild card because you're not really sure what you're getting.
A little bit of wild card. A lot of ups. Like, there's a ton of potential. Like I said, all due respect to Nick Foles, but definitely not necessarily. I don't have 100% faith, and it's not that I don't like Nick Foles. It's just not my. What am I trying to say here? I have caution with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
So we had a number of topics we wanted to cover today. Couldn't cover everything, but we covered the main points.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't necessarily address at the top of the show, because I wanted to leave it for the bottom. The last thing I wanted to talk about. We have 5 minutes left. Robert Kraft got busted for soliciting prostitution.
Dude, where was that? I was like, wait, he's the Patriots.
He's the owner of the Patriots.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I saw an article
This dude's
on it
busted.
last
Allegedly.
week.
Allegedly.
Like last week, I think the news broke.
Yeah.
It last
It
Friday.
happened. Yeah, it happened during my show last week. You know, like listeners of the show, I guess you will understand how upset I was to find out about it, because it happened like right at the end of my show.
But this was like,
and I live stream all these, so I didn't even see any updates until right after I got off the air. I was so frustrated. I was like, "Oh man, this would have been great to talk about."
I was.
But he got charged with 2 counts of soliciting prostitution. He's pleading not guilty. That's his plan, at least.
But wasn't it him and like 10 or like 20?
There's some other people in there too, but
like,
he's as far as we know, he's the biggest name that was on that list.
Well, yeah,
obviously,
because you've seen all the press that's come out.
Yeah.
With
he had allegedly he was there the day of the AFC Championship before they went and played the Chiefs in Missouri.
Yeah.
This obviously doesn't look very good for him as far as things are concerned. The NFL's maximum owner's fine, if the only thing that the NFL is trying to do is fine him, which who knows, man, the NFL is crazy, is $500,000. But the equivalent of fining Robert Kraft $500,000 is like fining the average person $2.07.
Yeah. I was
So
gonna
he's
say
like,
it's like
I don't
like,
care.
That's
Like,
like chump change to
take
him.
it.
It's not gonna like change.
$500,000? Oh my god, I
He'll-
had no idea to do
God,
that.
I would like die if I like had $500,000 and be like, oh my god.
I don't want
And-
to put any of my own personal speculation onto how things happened and why they happened. We try to be as family friendly as we can be here on the Rines Report,
Yeah.
to put things lightly.
Well,
I would check online for some more rigorous opinions, maybe Barstool Sports.
yeah.
They have some
they are
analysis.
very opinionated.
They're
bunch
very
there,
opinionated.
so
They're very entertaining.
If you like reading opinioneted stuff, that Barstool Sports, they're very.
You can take everything you read on there with a
Yeah.
grain of salt,
Well,
I
yeah.
guess. They are very entertaining.
It's very
to say the
entertaining.
least.
Yeah, I've read a lot of good articles on there that I'm just like, like you kind of get a laugh out of it too,
Yeah,
because
that's the whole thing.
just how they advertise them, like not necessarily even advertise how it's written.
Yeah.
Just
If Barstool's checking this out at some level, I mean, I think you guys are pretty entertaining. I like I like the work.
Yeah.
As I guess in general. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
me too.
But I don't really want to cite anything in particular. Like I said, trying to be as family friendly as possible, considering the airwaves we were on.
Yes.
But Robert Kraft got busted, man, and disappointment, sure. But also, I don't know. I have my own opinions about it. I'm gonna keep to myself. I just wanted to put it out there that the dude got busted for soliciting prostitution.
Should
So
have been more careful.
it's a great take from Jessie Taylor, Vice President of Radio Free Radford. Freedom of speech. But that's going to conclude the end of our show. Thank you guys so much for listening today. If you're watching us on Facebook on the Rines Report, spelled RINES, please give us go. Please, if you're listening online on RadioFreeRadford.com, please go give us a like on Facebook. Check out our live streams. Every one of our shows this semester have been live streamed, and with some amazing guests like Jessie Taylor, of course, Terrence Schoefield, Dustin Staples, the weatherman, has also been in the studio with us. Lots of interesting content. Check out Radio Free Radford on social media at Radio Free Raddy on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook when you search Radio Free Radford. Take it easy, guys. We got Anthony Mackie. I believe I'm saying that correctly, right? Want to make sure. One of our newest hosts. He's premiering his show supposedly up next. Amin Mackie. I'm so sorry, Mackie. Amin. But he should be premiering his show up next. So stick around if you're listening on RadioFreeRadford.com. Show premieres up next. Thank you guys so much for listening, and have a wonderful and safe weekend.